Hello, my name is Tanay Tiwari and welcome to Buzz This Week, a show that always satiates your quest for cricket news and memes. हाँ जी, हम वो फ्रिज हैं जिसको आप जब भी खोलें हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ वापस लेके ही जाएंगे, जैसे आज लेके जाएंगे. On the show this week, Tamil Nadu aced the Syed Mushtaq Ali challenge. India versus India? BCCI's no to Ranji Trophy in 2021. And Fawad, is he Pakistan's Bitcoin? In the pre-IPL era, back in the day when T20 format was still an experiment and domestic T20 tournaments did not attract as much limelight and attention, a Dinesh Karthik-led Tamil Nadu won the inaugural season of the interstate T20 competition in India's domestic cricket, beating Punjab. 13 years later, without the big names in their ranks but with a lot more attention on the tournament and on the format, Tamil Nadu beat Baroda in what turned out to be a very easy final for them, beating them by 7 wickets. And congratulations were definitely in order. The biggest key to Tamil Nadu's success throughout this season has been how the youngsters stood up for them at crunch moments. And to epitomize that was the performance of M. Siddharth in the final. This was his first game in the tournament, the biggest of stages, the biggest of limelights, and the young spinner stood up. Picked up 4 wickets, rendered a very powerful Baroda lineup virtually ineffective, reducing them to a paltry total, which Tamil Nadu chased down very easily. Talking of talents on display in Indian domestic cricket, it is really a force to reckon with. Otherwise, how do you explain this confidence move from the Indian team? I mean, they're so confident at the moment that perhaps they're the only ones जिनको वो Wall Street, GameStop और Reddit वाला चक्कर समझ में आया. हाँ जी, because look at them. In the build-up to the England series later this year, India will not play the conventional tour games against county sides. Instead, India will play India. नहीं समझे? India is all in readiness to play its tour games against India A as they build up to the England Test series later this year. They've said that the county sides that are put up are not really of the highest quality. That is why India, because we have so much of these resources, we will put one more team on the park and play warm-up games amongst ourselves. This has gotten the county managers excited because they expect big crowds to pour in to watch their Indian stars at play. A.B. de Villiers was so right when he said that the depth of Indian cricket is really scary. But scary तो बाहर के लिए, Indian fans के लिए तो उनकी 5 उंगलियां घी में, मुंह में मोतीचूर का लड्डू, राइट हाथ पर वैक्सीन लगी हुई है. एक काम करो, जल्दी से टचवुड कर लो. Everyone is all praises for the kind of talent that India produces in the cricketing world. But कौन हैं ये cricketers? कहाँ से आते हैं ये cricketers? They come from India's oldest domestic cricketing tournament, the Ranji Trophy, which come season 2021 will not be there. For the first time since it started in 1934-35, 2021 will be the first year where Ranji Trophy will not take place in India's domestic circuit. In a letter to all state associations, BCCI's Honorary Secretary Jay Shah said that he's happy to announce that the 50-over tournaments of Vijay Hazare and the Under-19 trophies of Veenu Mankad will go as scheduled, alongside a senior women's one-day cup as well. But what he said was that the Ranji Trophy will not take place this year. BCCI President Saurav Ganguly, though, was very keen on the Ranji Trophy taking place in India as per reports. But with the IPL 2021 now almost scheduled and slated to take place in India in April and May, it means that it doesn't leave a lot of room for a 4-day tournament to take place in its entirety, which is why they pulled the plug on this tournament. With no major 50-over tournament in sight in a very long time, until at least 2023, which is when the Men's World Cup happens, does a 50-over domestic tournament at this point in time make sense? What do you say? Tell us using #BuzzThisWeek on Twitter, but we are just very happy that the ball has been set rolling for India's domestic cricket, especially on the women's front. You're all aware of the Bitcoin story, right? If you're not, let me explain. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that was introduced in around 2008, 2009, and when it was introduced, people didn't really value it. I mean, they didn't value it for its vulnerabilities, they didn't know if it was a certain thing, if it would return value, which is why in 2009, Bitcoin was valued at 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. Today, 1 Bitcoin costs almost 27 lakh Indian rupees. Fawad Alam, who made his debut for Pakistan in the previous decade, when he played that test match on November 24, 2009, little did he know that he wouldn't play a test match until August 2020 for Pakistan. In this gap, Pakistan handed out 40 test caps, as Fawad Alam kept waiting in the wings. In the meanwhile, Fawad scored 26 first-class centuries and 33 half-centuries, amassing 7,965 runs at an average of almost 57. Ever since his return, Fawad Alam has already scored centuries for Pakistan, put them in winning positions, and the 35-year-old is turning the tide for his side. And when asked about whether he thinks he's lost time during his career because he was sitting out for so long, he said, "If it's in my destiny, no one could have taken it away from me." That is such a beautiful line, and maybe Fawad's destiny is now rubbing off on Pakistan's as well, who put up a good fight against New Zealand in New Zealand and who've now defeated South Africa in the first test at home. Your bus challenge for this week is, remember हमने India versus India की बात करी थी? Give us an India A11 that you would like to see play India in England later this year. Mine will... मैं अपनी बता दूंगा तो मेरी कॉपी कर लोगे ना आप लोग. अपनी बता दो. #BuzzThisWeek, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. कहीं भी भेजो जरूर. That's all that we have for you on this episode of Buzz This Week. Until next week, जाइए अपना काम करिए, जो भी काम वाम निपटाना है निपटा लीजिए. क्रिकेट और मीम्स की जैसे ही दरकार हो, मन करेगी क्रिकेट और मीम्स देखने, वापस आ जाइएगा, ये फ्रिज खोलिएगा, हम आपको यहीं मिलेंगे नए क्रिकेट और मीम्स लेकर अगले हफ्ते. Until then, okay, टाटा बाय.